What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another issue of comiXalliance, where we'll be doing a read and review. My name is Chris,
And I'm Joe.
and if you guys are on Instagram as well, please give us a follow on there. Well, where we do weekly polls, daily posts on comic books and non-comic book related things that are nerd related as well. And that is ComiXalliance, Comics Alliance.
All right. And with that, we are going to be doing the read and review this week on Middlewest by Skottie Young and artist Jorge Corona.
And this story is basically about a young paperboy that lives in the Middle West of the United States and has to deal with an abusive father and how he had to deal with that growing up and what he had to do in order to get away from that and the adventures that he undergoes in the later years. So, to start off, I guess we're going to be talking about how this all happens as he grows up. Our character here is named Abel, and he starts off delivering uh, newspapers throughout the neighborhood, and undergoes a job while his father uh, kind of puts him through a rough life of even though he's trying to make it on his own and trying to figure out how he's gonna live with his abusive father in order to grow up as a kid. And later on, he basically goes through these adventures where he meets a talking fox and tries to figure out like why his father is that way and how he can move on with his life.
And also, he wants answers about his mother because, as you stated, his father being abusive, he does constantly remind him that he's the reason his mother left. But you can tell that doesn't really sit right with him. And so it's a young boy's adventure, and uh, we can probably touch on this a little bit later, but I kind of feel like he is going on an adventure, and this is why I'm going to say we're going to touch on this a little later. I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens is literally like a young boy's imagination, and it's not actually happening the way we're seeing it happen. It's him picturing these events being much bigger and much grander than they really are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
got that feeling out of it, but that I kind of got that, from reading it. And I also kind
Yeah.
of feel like it was written from a young boy's perspective. Like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I kind of feel like this touches on Skottie Young's personal life, whether it's something he directly dealt with or someone really close to him in his life had dealt with, and it feels kind of based off of something a little more personal than just a story, and kind of how he imagined escaping, or like stories he had heard from a close friend, how he had always pictured as a child what it would be like to escape this, and that's where this stems from. Again,
Yeah.
that's my personal opinion on where it came from.
Yeah, I feel like I got a little bit of that too, because when you're a young kid growing up and you have all this imagination and you have no escape from it, especially if you have a traumatic upbringing, you tend to revolt to your imagination and how to escape from that daily. So you'll think about wild things that don't really happen in reality. You'll start um making your, I don't know, like your toys or a dog into like a very fun companion or someone to talk to if you don't have someone to talk to around that age. And I believe that's kind of what Abel goes through when he's going on these adventures to get through certain situations in his life. And yeah, and the way everything was written really well. The pacing was pretty good. The cliffhangers on each issue was pretty awesome, made me want
Oh
to
yeah.
continuously just figure out the next thing that's going to happen. It's definitely a page turner, It makes you just want to finish the whole series in one sitting, which is almost what I did. I started off with issue 1, ended up with I believe issue 9 or 10, and then finished the rest of it on the second sitting. And I definitely took the time to really enjoy the art on this by George or Jorge Corona. It was done very well. The colors just made the art pop from each page, and the characters that you meet and or read in this book are really cool, and you get really invested in everyone that you meet and that Abel deals with. So I had definitely felt a little bit uh, of the character Abel, of him growing up with an abusive father. I didn't have the best relationship with my father as well, and the way he was going through and his upbringing kind of reminded me of a little bit of that, and that kind of hit home for me too. So this book series was very relatable for me. So I thought that was really cool.
Oh, that's very true for a lot of people, I'm sure, who have read this, And I was fortunate enough to not have to deal with any of that, but from a writer's perspective, I thought the writing for this was incredible, and he knows how to make people like I guess the word would be empathy or empathize,
Yeah,
with someone. It really like you feel for Abel, and you feel for those around you who who have gone through that, and to be able to see like this kind of experience put to paper, in writing, and Jorge Corona's art bring it to life, really just like it drives it home and lets you know like what this kid really went through. So that's a big reason why I appreciated it, was it kind of gave me another perspective on something that I never actually dealt with.
yeah,
And it helps me empathize with that a lot more. Not that I didn't already, but just
yeah,
even more so than I ever did.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
with that, oh,
this whole series was basically was it issues 1 through 18, so it was a very easy read for from what I experienced. It wasn't so long, it wasn't too short either, and it was just a solid one and done story. So you could either find these in single issues. The first I want to say 5 or 6 issues are a bit difficult to find right now, but if you don't want to collect the single issues, they do have was it 3 trade paperbacks
yeah,
available?
yeah. The
Um,
Give me a sec. I'm sorry. The first one's $10, second one's 17, and the third one is 17. So I mean, that's a pretty low entry point to just, or not even entry point, just to get everything. But $10
yeah,
to at least experience the first 6 issues and see if it's for you is a
mhm,
very low cost,
yeah,
to
and
jump into.
I think it's totally worth it. I definitely recommend it for people that are looking for a uh, what do you call it, like an upbringing type of story, like or upcoming
The coming of
uh
age is
upcoming
that?
or coming of age
Yeah.
story, or in the mix with fantasy and a little bit of slice of life as well. So I think those combination of genres make a solid story for this series, and definitely recommend that you guys pick this up. I know they're coming out with a hardcover deluxe edition coming out sometime this summer, I believe. I think sometime in either June, July, or August, one of those, and that's going to be retailing for about I think 50 or $60.
Is it all 18 issues, or is it going to be a multi-part? Please tell me
It's
it's
a
this all.
it,
It's
it's a
complete.
complete collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll be
Yeah.
buying it.
Yeah.
So I'll just throw this out there now. If that is going to be a thing, I will probably be doing just a small giveaway. I'll probably be giving away anyone watching on YouTube all 3 trades. I'm not sure what the giveaway will entail, but we're going to wait till a little closer to the release of that. So this will be for my
Nice.
personal collection. They're in amazing condition, but I'd much rather have a hardcover deluxe edition for myself. But
Mhm.
maybe we'll base it off of this video, and see, or maybe like we'll do a post upcoming, and I'll be doing a giveaway for the 3 trades, and we'll ship them directly to you wherever you'd like them to be shipped.
Yeah, just keep an eye on Instagram because that's usually where we post our giveaways that we'll do. But we'll soon be starting to do announcements like that on our YouTube channel as well.
Yep. So with that, I don't know if you want to kind of just jump into some of the story. Do you want to make this completely spoiler free? Do you want to start spoiler free,
Well,
kind of
I
like what
think
we did with King in Black?
I think the overview was that's pretty much it, honestly. Unless you have anything that you want to say before we move into spoiler territory.
No, I think it was one thing when we did this with Venom and King in Black, like we had talked to prior to starting the episode. It was one thing is we had a lot of ground to cover. Like 30
Yeah,
something issues Venom. Five with what was it, Absolute Carnage, five with King in Black, and a bunch of tie-ins. We had a lot more to discuss before
yeah,
jumping into spoilers. This we're talking what 18 issues, all a single story, like no
yeah.
tie-ins, nothing, like no sequels, no spin-offs. Um, yeah, so I think it's good time to just jump straight into the story.
Awesome. Like I said, if you guys like what you've heard in regards to the overview that we have just done, please give this story a chance. These creators, Skottie Young and Jorge Corona, are an awesome team, and I hope they continue to work together and put out more independent stories like this, which is great.
I would love to
So
see a sequel, but I don't think the ending warrants a sequel. I just want to see more from the two of them and Abel.
yeah, that'd be great.
Just throwing that out there. And for the record, we're saying Jorge Corona. If we are incorrect, we apologize. You did say prior to starting that you've also heard it as George Corona. That may or may not
Yeah,
be it. I don't know. I'm
yeah,
just
I'm not
going
sure
based
either.
off of what I know, and I've always known the name to be Jorge. I just want to clarify
Yeah.
that so people aren't like these idiots are saying it wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, with that, jumping into the story, as we stated, it's about a boy who comes from an abusive family, and it kind of starts with I believe he is coming back his first time being late, I think. Or I'm
yeah,
sorry, waking up late. First time from his bike route,
yeah,
right? And he had been doing it for I want to say about 4 or 5 years. Do you remember?
yeah,
You
somewhere
read
around
it
there.
a little more recently than I did. It's been a few months since I finished it.
Yeah,
And his dad literally just rails in or ream like yeah, I try to say and I keep screwing up what I'm saying. Just reams him out and
yeah,
pretty much uh belittles him to a point where he's more or less calling him a failure and telling him he's never going to get anywhere.
yeah. Even though
Uh
he's only messed up once.
yeah, and he's been getting up at like what was it like 4 or 5 a.m. every
Yeah,
day,
yep,
and
yeah.
that's kind of
For a young kid like that, like it's pretty tough, man.
yeah, yeah, to be able to and to be so dedicated, like, you know, I don't even think I'm that dedicated as an adult to something, you know, like hell, you and I were like, we're starting this right at 10 o'clock, and it's like
Yeah,
11:45, and we're just barely starting, and this kid, like, he's young and he's getting up at like 4 in the morning for this paper route.
yeah,
So yeah, he's pretty dedicated, but his dad just puts him to like, that's how hard he pushes him in such a negative way
yeah,
that I want to say the Fox thing is before he leaves on his adventure. He's already established the friend as a fox, correct?
yeah. Right before he
And
leaves town.
yeah, and it's a talking fox, and
Yeah.
he ends up does he ditch his paper route the next day to go hang out with his friends? Or am I getting ahead
Um.
of myself?
No, I think he was hanging out with some of his friends or school friends, I believe.
Yes.
And they end up going to a kind of like a liquor store, and they're trying to look for goods, and his friends are not really his friends, are up to no good, and
Yes.
they end up trying to
Steel.
tell Abel to steal. So he does it, and Abel's already trying to say no, he doesn't want to do it, he's against it, but then he ends up doing it anyway, and he walks out and thinks he made it out safely, and the clerk like gets him. He's like, you don't want to do that, like. And he ends up getting caught and everything, and he apologizes, and says he didn't mean it, and he ends up the clerk ends up calling his dad, and he was so scared of that his dad was so furious by the time he picked them up and stuff, and it just goes downhill from there.
Yeah, and because of that, I want to say that's where he makes the decision that he's gonna leave, right?
Yeah, around that
He,
time.
he's just like, I'm done. Like that's kind of like the final straw with his dad pushing him.
Yeah,
And was it he was having a conversation with the fox, correct?
yeah,
And he's just like, I'm out. Like I'm done. I'm taking off. Does he jump out of his truck, or they get home? They get home and he bails because his
yeah. I
dad
think he
gets in
gets
his
home and he
face.
bails.
Yeah, his dad gets in his face. I think he pushes him
Yeah,
and they argue and he runs. He just takes off. And
yeah,
of course the fox follows him. The
yeah.
fox never had a name, right?
Shoot. I could have sworn he did.
Again,
if he
I've been reading, or I haven't read this in a few months. You
I just finished reading it today and
yeah.
already forgot his name. Uh,
What is the
shoot.
fox's name? This is bad.
I
Why do we not remember?
don't know.
Um,
Maybe it wasn't,
um
memorable.
yeah. Yeah, his best friend through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's irrelevant at this moment. So he decides to take off and a storm starts coming. And I'm not getting ahead of myself, right? The
No.
storm starts coming and levels Middlewest. Like literally just destroys the town. And the storm is not just like a storm, but it appears to be alive and have a face. And I don't want to
Yeah, and
say
kind
so
of a
much.
body.
Yeah, I don't want to say so much a personality, but it definitely appears to be sentient of sorts.
Yeah.
Like it has a mind of its own. It knows exactly what it's doing, and it's specifically targeting the town of Middlewest.
Yeah.
And so at this point, he's not just running from his dad, he's running from a storm.
Yeah.
And the fox is going along with him, of course. And
Yeah,
as I
and
stated earlier, sorry, go ahead.
oh, okay. I just wanted to say that the if you guys are wondering what the fox little fox character is all about, he's kind of like his little partner, that like a Jiminy Cricket, if of all sorts,
There we go.
that trying to tries to guide him and tells him what to do in order to survive, or make good choices, not bad ones.
Yeah, he's kind of like the little voice in his head, like the voice
Mhm.
of reason.
Yeah,
I guess that's a good way to put it. I'm
yeah.
looking for his name because this is gonna bother me. Why can't I remember it? Or why can't either of us remember it? Um. Anyway, does it reveal at that point what the storm is? Do you remember?
I could have sworn it revealed that it is his dad,
Yeah.
but I don't remember which part of that storm that reveals it's his dad.
Yeah. I want to say it's relatively soon, like
Because I
that
feel like
he
he was already chasing him as as a storm character, or that storm sentient.
yeah, like when he starts taking off, his dad starts chasing him, and
Yeah,
when the storm starts coming, he realizes it's his dad.
yeah,
And there's like a burning in his chest,
yeah,
like literally like a full on glow, like emanating from Abel's chest.
yeah. It pretty much
And
looks almost like a scar on him that's embedded to his body.
yeah,
And he's like wondering what that is.
yeah. And one thing I did notice, let me see if I can find the picture. Okay, so this one I'm gonna show it on YouTube for anyone.
Yeah,
So see right here the color of the storm or the face in the storm. It is also the same color of glow that's coming from Abel's chest. So it kind of already gives you an idea that this isn't something that's just related to his father, but it's actually something that has possibly carried on through Abel. And so you know at that point that there's something special about Abel.
yeah,
That he's not just a kid. He's not just, like a kid running, like a runaway kid. Like there's something bigger now that's going to happen, like something, more that's leading up to this guy's life.
yeah. And I think after they realize that he has that little glowing scar on him, at first I thought it was gonna be like maybe an ability or a superpower that he can use to possibly help people or fight off, bad guys or something.
Yeah,
And later on, you find out that it's actually more of something that he's trying to get rid of because it's starting to grow within him, and it's
yeah,
not good.
yeah. Definitely not good. Uh,
Yeah,
so shortly after he runs off, he comes across a bridge, and there's that hooded sort of like bird skull looking
yeah,
thing. I don't even know what to call it,
yeah.
but
It's like a mask
uh, this
that
this
he's
guy,
wearing.
for anyone, this blur, this guy right here,
Hmm.
pretty creepy looking, but kind of cool looking. Approaches him. I want to say he threatens to like eat him, not just kill him for trespassing.
Yeah,
And obviously, I mean, it's just he's a kid and a fox. He doesn't know what to do. He's then saved by a guy wearing, what was it, like just like pants, a jacket, like a, not a fedora, like a kind of like
like
a
a,
cowboy hat,
yeah,
sort of,
the older guy,
and
right?
like a scarf, yeah, looking like he's come back from camping.
Yeah,
And it almost seems like it was, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it was fate. Like they were supposed to be there at the same time.
right.
Like it wasn't just like this guy did just so happen to show up. It's like they were, like their face was supposed to intertwine. He's an older guy with like a huge white beard.
Yeah.
Comes by, saves Abel. Um, I know we're talking spoilers, but I don't know if you want to talk like specific detail, or if you'd like the listener who would choose to read this
No, it's
uh,
up to you. I mean,
to
like
read it.
we already went over overviews if they want to listen into spoilers if they want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I mean like discuss like fine detail, or if you'd want to just talk like kind of what we're doing. Like I don't know. I don't want to spoil too much. I know
Uh,
we're hitting like some key points, but
I mean,
one thing I
yeah,
loved
just
about
just save it,
this,
I guess.
yeah, because one thing I loved about this was the adventure. Uh,
Yeah,
Not so much when he fights or faces the big, like, beaked guy, like hooded guy. It's so much like it's more about like the adventure to that, and then
yeah,
when he arrives at like the carnival, which
yeah.
is actually next. He arrives at a carnival. Um, I don't know if you want to take it from there. If you want to
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
he
So
arrives at the
he
carnival.
basically gets to the carnival, where I guess the old guy brings him, right?
Yeah, says "Welcome to my
And
home" or something like that.
yeah, and he sees all these people working, and I forgot exactly what he ends up doing, but he does something where he has to owe the carnival like money, I guess, but
They they fed him and gave him shelter, and I think they want him to earn his keep.
oh yeah,
Oh,
so
no, 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 no. That was part of it.
yeah,
Him and the fox decide to, like, they were running from somebody, and
yeah.
they knocked down a part of the circus.
Oh, that's what it was. So they end up breaking it, right?
Yeah, and they're expected to pay for it.
Yeah, so and obviously Abel doesn't have any money whatsoever, so they end up putting him to work to make ends meet after that after that accident. So
Yeah,
he meets this new friend, was it
Bobby.
Bobby, and I forgot what the robot's name was. Um it's not Fritz, is it?
I don't believe it was Fritz.
Yeah, but there's this robot that she made that walks and talks like an android. Super cool character. Has its own personality and whatnot. And they end up building this friendship later on where she shows compassion for him and really cares about him, even though they're putting him to work. And what he realizes is that he ends up liking the work. It's not too hard. It doesn't feel hard because he likes what he's doing to help his friends, his new found friends now. And eventually, after working every single day and paying off the damage that he's done, he I think he meets the one of the owners, or the owner of the carnival. Shoot, what's her name? Was it Magdalena or something?
Yes,
Or
I believe so.
Maggie. I
Something
think she
along,
goes
yeah.
by Maggie, and she basically tells him that, like, oh, you know what, you helped pay off the damage that you've done. You're free to go. And he has this moment where he really doesn't want to go because he feels very welcome here, and this is his newfound family. And I think they end up letting him stay with them,
Yeah.
so they could go on along and stay in the carnival and live with each other and whatnot. But later on, they come across some issues and some trouble that they have to deal with as a crew, I guess. You remember what happens after that?
Um, when the whole storm thing starts again.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting just slightly ahead of something. I don't know if you remember. This is actually the start of issue 5. It's a flashback
Mm.
to when he was a kid, and he had got a new bike,
Oh yeah.
and his dad is like pretty much pissed that he has a new bike,
Yeah.
and telling him that his old bike was just fine or whatever, and I bought you that bike and this and that. And
Right.
he's like, well, I think this bike is a piece of junk, and he destroys the brand new bike that he had just got.
Yeah.
um it's really sad
Wasn't it?
actually to
Wasn't
read
it?
that.
Wasn't that one the like one that his mom got for him or something?
Yes, I believe it was
Yeah.
his mom like sent it to
Which
him.
Yeah, and which meant so much more to him, obviously, because he loved his mom and had not so much bad relationship with her, even though she left.
Yeah, and his bike was like on his last leg, you know.
Yeah.
He had like used it up pretty much, like the thing was just like done. So
Yeah.
she, and well, I don't think it explicitly states it's from his mom. I want to say he believes it's from his mom because there's no other explanation as to where it came from,
Yeah.
you know. And so his dad is pretty much just not having any of that and destroys the bike right in front of him.
Yeah.
So then it goes back to present day, and that's when the trouble starts happening at the carnival.
Yeah. That's when
And
his scar starts triggering,
yeah,
right?
his scar starts glowing, and he starts pretty much turning into the
Yeah,
storm
just
that
like his
he.
father.
Yep. So from my understanding, it kind of shows that the storm is more. I mean, again, this might be what's really happening. This can also be like a metaphor, but it kind of seems like the storm is like a metaphor for the anger that's building up inside of him,
Yeah.
you know. And when it comes out, you know, it's not good. It pretty much is very damaging to
Hmm.
him and everyone around him, and he ends up destroying the carnival.
Yeah.
He pretty much levels the carnival the way his father leveled the town of Middlewest.
Yeah.
And so he's pretty much, he's not exiled, I believe. I think some people want him, some people are cool with letting him stay to help rebuild, but he chooses to leave.
Yeah, because I think he ended up hurting a handful of the townspeople, and it shows some of them like badly injured or bleeding at some points. And he
Yeah.
said that, like, oh, like I need to save you from all this. So he decides to not leave the burden upon the townspeople to deal with them, and he
Yeah.
just takes off.
And at
And oh, go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say by this point I believe his dad has already started
To look for him.
traveling to look for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird given the way his father had always treated him, that
Yeah.
he's going after him to look for him.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
at that point, we're not sure exactly what his dad's intentions are. Like, I don't know if he's doing it out of guilt, or or for his safety, or he just wants to beat his ass for for leaving.
for taking off. Yeah,
Yeah. So and I think obviously Bobby is really attached to Abel and didn't want him to leave, and neither did the fox. So and then Maggie was the only one that was like, oh, just let him go. Like if that's what he wants to do, it's for the safety of the townspeople.
yeah.
And
She sorry, I don't believe she pushed him out. I think
no,
it was like you're more than welcome to stay, but if leaving is
yeah,
what you want, then leave.
yeah,
Feel free to leave.
yeah. And like he's a very young boy, and for him to just run away like that and no one's stopping him before he hurts himself or other people, like I think that's when the his partner, the fox, decides to go with him on his quest or adventure, or the next story arc
The
that he
next
has to
step,
go
yeah.
through. Yeah,
And at that point, I believe that's when they get into a fight and separate, right?
yeah,
They they get into like a dispute and he tells the fox to screw off and they go their
yeah.
separate ways, or
Yeah, I
no,
think
no,
that
no, no, no,
because
no.
I think they're going to shoot, where do they go? No, it was something happens before that.
Yes,
He goes through, what was it, uh
he
like
meets
a wooded
those,
area,
yeah, the people,
because he goes into the woods before he gets into the next town, and they end up getting attacked by I forgot what they're called, but you see it's basically nighttime in the woods, and his fox friend is telling him like, we can't go there, it's not safe or whatever. But Abel, it's so pissed off that he just wants to like, don't tell me what to do, I'll go here if I want. And they end up going there, and nighttime falls down and you see all these like red eyes
yeah,
and all over the forest, and they're like saying, oh, like who's in the woods, who's in the woods. They're all like chanting it, and they look like dark creatures. And they finally pop out, and it's a bunch of like, they look like possessed squirrels that are that are very deadly and
yes,
about to
okay,
chew them out. And
yeah.
then right as they're surrounded, I'm like, oh crap, like how are they gonna get out of this one? And you see these arrows or sticks like hit one of the squirrels, and all of a sudden like a few other squirrels like start falling down because they get shot. And all of a sudden they all scatter, so they're safe, but they're also surrounded by these woodland people. I think their group was called or was it started with an N, I can't remember. But they get surrounded, they get captured. His fox friend gets bagged, and they start leading him into their town or village. But I
Is
think
it?
before that happens, the he I think he ends up getting a flashback as well. I can't remember what
Was
flashback.
sorry, it was the Nowak people,
Oh, there you go.
like
Oh
Nowak,
yeah, yeah.
or Nawak, Nawak,
Well, when I
Nawak.
when I read that, I thought of Norwalk, but
Yeah.
like, but
To
Norwalk.
before you proceed, because I'm actually flipping through parts of this too,
Oh, okay.
for specifics, various specific things that are leading up to this. One of the Nowak people say, one of the Norwalk people says the boy has the heart of a storm. So,
Yeah,
like I had mentioned, when you see the glowing piece on his chest, you know it's actually something more. And granted, yes, we've already kind of seen it happen at the carnival, but this pretty much confirms that that's what it is, and there are people who know and are familiar with this, because
yeah,
that's important, because that leads into the next part, which is one of the issues right behind you, um, to your left, this where he
this one,
goes
this one, right?
to the far left, I think, the
Uh,
face in the snow.
oh, this one, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting that that townspeople or village people knew about that, because I think they mentioned that they've been around before the current townspeople, but their kind has been like dwindling
Yeah.
since then, and they've barely been surviving. So I kind of wish they expanded a little more on their background and story arc.
Yeah. And that's why, like, when I say that I'd like, well, you say a part two, but maybe it wouldn't have to be a part two. Maybe just another story with these, and maybe it could expand on like them, like the Nowak people. It could be
Yeah,
a story about them, maybe a story about
or
some of
even
the
just a
different.
flashback of what happened to them. Yeah,
Yeah, like there's so much that could be, and like expanded on
yeah,
in this world. Like he didn't write this huge, like expansive world, but he wrote, like he
enough.
created, yeah, enough stuff that
Yeah,
like if you wanted to dial back into Middle West in a couple years, like there's some material he can definitely use, to write like another like 10, 12,
yeah.
issue miniseries.
Yeah, but I also think that's what's awesome about it is that he creates something enough so that you could expand it with just with just using your imagination.
Yeah, exactly. Which is always fun.
Yeah,
So after he does all this, the Nowak people, they suggest the answers he wants for the Heart of the Storm is to go speak to is it Nokayama, that big
yeah,
bull looking thing?
yeah. It
Is
looks
it?
like a
Oh,
I
Nokayuna.
think it's a bear or something. It looks like a bear.
It's like a bear with antlers or something.
Yeah, more
Yeah,
like a like another sentient being that he has to go speak to or meet with.
yeah, Nokayuna. That's its name. I'm
Yeah.
assuming
So
it's supposed to be like a so for maybe like a spirit animal of sorts,
yeah,
or something like a god
or
in
a
their eyes.
yeah, kind
But
of like a guide too, where
yeah,
they speak with to get answers. And through the comic book panels, it just shows him or Abel and the Fox go through an adventure basically, going through woodland territory, different places through the desert and stuff like that, until they reach the forest. I think, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Because
that's where
after
they
the
end up meeting him.
because after all that too, Nokayuna sends him saying that he's going to what is the name of it? That he has to go on his own into the
Winter
winter
woodlands.
woods, the winter
Yeah.
woods.
Hmm.
So he has to continue traveling through different terrain. I believe like a deserty looking area, from what it seems, um, to like a foresty area that leads directly into the
The
winter
winter
woods.
woods. Yeah.
And there's somebody he needs to speak with in the winter woods.
Yeah.
And this, for me, like this is where I thought the story started to take like a really messed up turn, like
Yeah.
because you think that it's gonna be like a positive outcome. You think like
Yeah.
he's finally gonna like get what
Get
he's
some
looking
answers.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing it kind of bummed me out. As much as I love the story, I feel like this moment was cut short. That there should have been more because it kind of seemed just like a high bye like sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like hey, it's me. Oh, okay, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Get out of my house sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the fox wants to go with him. He tells the fox that no, Nokayuna said I have to, do this on my own, and so he goes into the winter woods.
Hmm.
And upon entering the winter woods, he hears a voice that says, "Hello, grandson." And obviously, he's confused, and he realizes that the person talking is his grandfather, who
Yeah.
he hadn't seen, I think, since he was maybe like 5 or 6 at
Yeah.
what is it? Was it his grandmother's funeral?
Yeah. It was his grandmother's funeral.
Yeah, his grandmother's funeral. That was the last time he'd seen him, and he had gotten into a fight with his dad, or his father and grandfather had gotten in a fight, and I believe no one had seen his grandfather since that point.
Yeah.
So he gets to finally encounter his grandfather, and that again, this is where I was saying I was hoping that there was going to be some like some really good in-depth story here, but I feel like it kind of got cut short. I almost feel like the interactions, like the direct interactions, not the build up and not
Mhm.
the end of, but the whole interaction with his grandfather could have been a whole issue, start to finish.
Yeah,
You
it should
know,
have.
um, or it could have been, maybe it should have been, but I feel like they should have done more. But that would have
Mhm.
started leading into like 19 issues. I don't know if Image was giving him like a time limit, or like, do this in 18 issues. Like, we're only going to print 18 for you. I
Yeah,
don't know what the deal was, but I kind of feel like it was cut short. So he meets his grandfather. He takes him into his cabin. He feeds him some beans, and
yeah, because
he
it's that
starts.
that's all he had. So.
Yeah, that's all he eats. Uh,
Mhm.
so he starts, I believe, telling him stories about when he was a kid, right? And like a song
Yeah,
that his mother used to sing to him, right?
that his yeah his dad's mother used to sing to him in order
There
for
you go.
him
His
to
grandmother, yeah,
fall asleep,
yeah,
because he wouldn't stop crying.
yeah.
And his grandfather would get always get pissed off until his dad's mom or grandmother would start singing to him, and you later on find out um, that Abel doesn't have that much memory of it that he could recall, but he started remembering something about his dad singing that same song to him, because his grandfather was telling him that, like, yeah, your dad used to play guitar, but he has no Abel has no recollection of him even playing
Yeah,
any instruments. So, but it was
that's
only
correct.
during that
So,
time when he was growing up,
so
when he
this is
was trying
actually,
to sleep.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
Um, if I heard you correctly and I remember correctly, that's the first moment where he realizes there was like a loving side to his dad, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So, with that, like after that whole conversation, he shows his grandfather his chest, and
yeah.
his grandfather shows him his. It
Mhm.
almost sounds like we're not talking about a comic anymore. Uh, sorry. And he wants to know how to get rid of, because it's now like not even looking like a scar. It's like a swirl, correct?
Yeah,
It's like I mean, I guess still a scar, but it doesn't like look
yeah,
like a wound. Like it looks
like a
like a
tattoo.
yeah, like a tattoo, like a design on his
Yeah,
chest.
at this point, it's pretty much grown a lot larger, and
Yeah,
it's encumbering almost his entire chest.
yeah. And it turns out his grandfather has like a very similar uh marking, I guess.
Yeah,
And so he's like, oh, like I need to get rid of it, or how do we get rid of it? And his grandfather
yeah,
just straight up tells him, like, this isn't something you get rid of. This is something you embrace, something you're proud of.
yeah,
And again, I kind of feel like that is a metaphor for like the anger that builds up inside you.
yeah,
And it's almost like this is being passed down through generations, that it's
yeah,
just they're angry people. um
yeah. They're
and
like
Abel,
angry and proud people, right?
yeah, and Abel's trying to break that. He doesn't want to be, I guess he doesn't want to grow up and be his father, because
Yeah,
his father grew up to be his father.
yeah. Which is ironic because his father, or Abel's father, doesn't want to be his dad, which is his
Yeah,
grandfather. So
but he became him pretty much with the
yeah.
anger.
Hmm.
And his grandfather then turns into a storm.
Yeah, into a
And
snowstorm.
yeah,
Yeah,
and pretty much like, oh, this is my true self. Now show me your true self.
yeah.
And Abel's
And
just terrified at this point.
yeah, he
you
does
know,
not want to show or be that his grandfather wants him to be. So
yeah,
basically, his grandfather, like, does this I don't know, like a whirlwind or snow attack where it like knocks him against the tree bark, and basically tells him, like, you know what you are, you're a disappointment. And
appointment, yeah.
yeah, I thought that one hit in the heart right there. Like, I'm like, damn, this poor kid.
Yeah, it's like his own father doesn't want him, his own grandfather doesn't want him.
Yeah.
It's like, so at this point, like his mom didn't want him, his father didn't want him, his grandfather doesn't want him.
Yeah, he has no one. He feels
Yeah,
very alone at this point.
yeah. So from here he leaves the forest, and this is why I said I felt like it cut short. I want to say that was it
Oh
was
yeah.
maybe like 10 pages. It was just like, oh hey, what's up? Oh, here's some beans. Oh, your father wasn't always bad. Oh hey, look, we embrace the
Mhm.
storm. Oh, you suck, get out. And
Yeah.
it sums up, or like that summed it up really fast, but like it
Yeah.
happens just as fast as I explained it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, like his grandfather, like cool.
Maybe
Oh, it's
maybe
over.
that was kind of like a memory that was flashing back to him as well, that
Maybe,
he
and
was
that could
experiencing.
explain why,
Hmm.
because Nokayuna said, go into the forest
Yeah.
and these will be the answers you will get some answers. He got no answers, which I'm fine if he
Hmm.
didn't get answers, but it's just like you couldn't even like lead me to believe I was going to get answers, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, and then
Uh,
on top of that too, I think when by the time he gets out of the winter woods, you just see him, like you see his face change, and his fox buddy notices it,
yeah,
and he's just like, "Oh, what's wrong? Did you get what you did you find what you were looking for or something?" And he's like, kind of brushes him off, and he's like, "Whatever, like no or whatever."
yeah,
And he's like, oh, "Okay, you look kind of different," and he just like brushes him off again and starts walking, and he's trying to cheer him up, and they get into the next town, and I think the town was called Pipe Town or something,
Piper City.
Piper City.
Yeah,
And they get in there, and like his fox friend like finds him, a pizza box or a piece of
yeah,
pizza, and still he denies pizza. I'm like, he's like surprised. He's like, how come he's denying pizza? Like,
because he is
there's
not a
some
turtle.
there's something wrong with him. Yeah.
He's not a turtle. That's why.
Yeah.
So
um
this is where they have their first really big blowout. They had a slight disagreement earlier, right? Where they separate for a short time and come back together. But this is
yeah.
where they like almost like the end of their friendship at this point, right?
Yeah, because he was trying to stop him from going into that city, because that city's kind of like run down, and there's
Yeah.
no uh it's not
It's
very
not a
safe.
place for kids to go, which
Yeah.
you soon find out why.
Yeah.
So Abel's walking around the city and he runs into a man. I'm trying to remember what he asks him. He says something.
Yeah, he runs into him, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," like
Oh,
just trying
he
to be
said he
nice
was
and
looking
stuff.
for his parents. There you
Yeah.
go. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking for my parents or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, you don't have parents."
Yeah.
And that's when like, oh, it's over for Abel.
Yeah.
Like, you just like he
Yeah.
messed up saying that.
And you can see that the face on that character, when Abel bumps into him, he looks very innocent and trying to help the kid out. And then as soon as Abel says he doesn't have any parents, like his face or his personality changes into a very deceiving creep. Like
Yeah.
like he's gonna steal this, kidnap this kid. I'm like, oh man.
Yep. So at that point, he grabs Abel and he throws him in the back of a truck. And at okay, I'm sorry, but prior to this point, the fox is walking around, pissed off, frustrated, like stupid spoiled kid or brat or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's approaching where Abel is as he's being thrown into the truck, and he yells like, somebody help. And then all the fox says is, I'm coming, buddy. And you're just like, oh man, like he still cares for him. Like,
Yeah.
despite like it wasn't just like a little spat they had, like it
Yeah.
was a full blown, like, we are no longer friends kind of moment.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing the fox set off on an adventure to save Abel. So don't get me wrong, it still very much is about, Abel and, his story and situation, but we now see the fox on his own going, or about to embark on an adventure to find Abel, which I thought was
Yeah.
really cool. That it wasn't just the two of them the whole time, that you actually see them separate and not just separate in the city and come back. Like it's not, we're now seeing two different pieces of a story, you
Yeah.
know. So he's in the back of the
Truck.
truck, and he
Yeah.
realizes there's 4 or 5 other kids,
Yeah.
and one of them is just ragging on him, and he's just like pretty much a bully.
Yeah.
He's like making fun of him, and he's belittling him,
Yeah.
and Abel's having like no part in it, and he just cracks the bully in the face, remember, and just kind
Yeah.
of puts him in his place.
Yeah, and I think he makes another comment as he was getting punched, and it just, you know, uh, blows up Abel's temper, and he starts wailing on this kid, like beating him to a pulp
Yeah,
until I think until the truck opens, right?
yeah. Well, the guy says, "Was your daddy mean to you?" And keep
Oh
in
yeah,
mind, this is that I should say is the whole reason this story is happening,
yeah,
and so I think what should have been just like a single punch to shut him up
yeah,
is, as you said, he beats him to a pulp. That's that's the comment that just sets him to that point where he's just done.
yeah,
So truck stops, they get him out, says you have a flight to catch, and you meet that hooded bird figure, like bird skull kind of looking thing again.
yeah. Towards from the beginning of the series.
Yeah, and they're rounding him up, and they're gonna put him on I guess like an airship of sorts, because it's not really like
Yeah,
a plane. And they're taking them to, was it Ethel Fields or Ethel Fields?
yeah. The fields.
Yeah, to go work. And that pretty much ends the 11th issue, I believe.
I believe so. And
Uh,
if you guys are wondering what the ethyl fields are, it's basically a farm where they farm ethyl, which is they don't really talk about it much, but it's kind of like a source of energy that the towns use and stuff. And
yeah,
uh, it's not very what do you call it? It's very harmful if you if you open it up and try to use it and stuff.
yeah, it's like highly unstable.
Yeah,
That like I believe if well, we'll get into this in a little bit. What happens to it? Because from the end of that and knowing that he's about to be sent on the airship to the Ethel Fields, the next issue starts with the Fox, and he's pretty much turned around from Piper City, and he's
yeah,
heading back to the carnival.
yeah. To get
And he
help.
heads back, and he finds the old man, and he finds Maggie. And I don't know if we established this already or if they did
Hmm.
in the story, but they're brother and sister.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember if it revealed that earlier or if it reveals that at this point. I think it did earlier when he first takes him. But
Hmm.
so he's pretty much running back, and he's just like, hey, like, Abel's been taken, he needs your help. I need your help, this
Yeah.
and that. And it,
I think they were having an argument and like Bobby was trying to convince Maggie like, "Oh no, you got to go help him."
yes. Oh, no, 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 wait. I'm sorry. We got way ahead of ourselves. That happened earlier in the story when
Mhm.
Bobby goes after him. Remember, because when he ends up in the truck, Bobby's there.
Oh yeah, Bobby's was already there.
Yeah, so Bobby, I'm
That's what I
sorry. So
may
we
miss.
missed something. So Bobby earlier when he had left the carnival decides to follow him but can't
Hmm.
find him, and we don't hear from her again. So now later, when he's trying to convince Maggie and oh my god, I can't remember the old man's name, to go help him, uh they get the Bobby's robot to go. So
Yeah.
then it jumps forward again to them approaching the Ethel Fields with Bobby, the
Hmm.
bully, the other 2 kids, and it just shows like this huge like let me just show this page. I love this page.
Yeah.
This field of like the Ethel Field. I don't know if you could see it. It doesn't.
Yeah.
This does not do it justice. The way it like glows and lights up.
Oh yeah, the colors in there is just very dark, and then you see like the bright, I guess like magenta or what color is that?
Yeah, it's kind of
Pink,
magenta.
pink, pink.
Yeah, kind of pinkish, kind of magenta. Like depending on
Yeah,
if it's like the like little bulb itself, it looks
yeah,
pinkish. But like the glow it like radiates in some shots kind of looks like a magenta. It's
yeah,
really nice looking.
yeah. That splash
Um,
page is really cool.
yeah. So it leads into that, and they're pretty much taken to the Ethel Fields, and they're set to work in teams, and they show you or they're kind of stressing how serious this is to be taken, and I believe they kill one of the kids.
Yeah,
Like,
basically when they get them out of the trucks, they they put them in a line, and before they show like I guess the tour of like what like how serious they are, one of the kids was like, "Oh, here's their chance." Like, they can't watch all of us at once, so he's this kid. One of the kids was trying to convince the like Abel and a couple other kids to run away with them, and he's like, "Oh, whatever, I'm not gonna wait for you," and he
there
takes
you
off,
go.
and that's when he gets I forgot if he gets shot or if he gets shocked or punched or something,
He gets
but
he gets
he gets
zapped.
yeah, he got zapped very heavily and like falls
Yeah.
to the floor, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, like that's what happens to you if you try to do anything."
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty brutal to watch or to see.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would love to see like an animated adaptation of this, but I feel like that scene should be left out to some degree.
Yeah.
Like it's that brutal. Like you don't need to see that happen to a kid, even animated.
Yeah.
Um, but so it jumps from that to his father again searching for him. He's in another town
Yeah.
and he's in a diner looking for his son, of course, asking around about Abel. And
Yeah, I
it
think his
ends.
dad's name is Dale, right?
Yes, actually, I believe his dad's
Yeah.
name is Dale. So Dale is looking, and he's asked to leave the diner because, as they say, like you're scaring the customers, and his dad just loses it, and he erupts into a storm
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, and before he does that, he's when he's talking to this old man, he's like, "Oh, like you care about your kid, huh?" And then yeah, the old guy at the diner starts getting to him because he's like, "Oh, I can see." He starts being very sarcastic. He goes, "I can see how loving you are. I bet like I don't think he ran away from your hugs." And then Dale is like gripping his beard like very,
Yeah,
very heavily and starts losing his mind. He's like, "Oh, you don't know like crap about me, old man, blah blah blah," and he like breaks
yeah,
the beer bottle and is about to attack this old guy, and three guys walk in, and he's like, "Oh, like why don't you pick up on pick on someone your own size or whatever instead of like little kids or old men."
yeah.
And those three guys basically teach him a lesson, in terms of picking on people, and that's when I think he gets beaten down to the point where he's almost knocked out, and the old guy's like, "Oh, all right, that's enough. I think he learned his lesson." And that's when Dale turns around and turns into the monster or the storm monster or whatever, and starts
And
wailing on the town, right?
the final page just shows a section of a town destroyed, a sign that says "Enjoy Middlewest" or something,
Mhm.
and that's it. Like, and it just like leveled. So I'm assuming, yes, he did level that part of the town or that town he
Yeah.
was in. Um, so we've now seen him destroy two cities on his own. Yeah. So he's a
Hmm.
pretty angry person.
Yeah.
So the next set of issues, which actually, if you're following the trade paperbacks, this is at the start of the third one. So we're actually getting pretty close to the end here. It starts with a flashback of him working, not wanting to go out in the snow and the rain, and his dad just kind of getting progressively angry with him. Doesn't delve a whole lot into like anything that would have necessarily set him off that we hadn't already seen, but it just, I think it just kind of hammers home like the point
Hmm.
of how his dad treated him. So
Yeah,
it
I think
jumps.
that started off with Abel wanting to start the paper out as a paper boy,
Yes.
and obviously his dad was super proud of him, willing that he's willing to start really young and take on responsibility and stuff like that, and trying to teach him a lesson that like hard work didn't hurt anyone or whatever, and he starts doing that, and then I guess uh Abel starts complaining or whining about it a little bit because he starts, getting tired of his route and stuff like that. And him or Abel's dad, Dale, and his mom starts, getting upset at each other every single day, and that's when I think things started turning around and going downhill from there.
Yeah. So from there, it jumps to back at the Ethel Fields. They're now being
Yeah.
organized by teams. So
Mhm.
there's, if you haven't figured out by now, they're pretty much slaves,
Yeah.
forced to work in the Ethel Fields, and even like the team leaders or like the group leaders are also slaves, but I believe they're paid, but they're still slaves. Like,
They have like benefits, but
yeah,
they're still slaves.
yeah, like they can't leave,
It
but like they,
reminds me of work.
yeah, I know, right? Like they can't leave, but they get some benefits. Like they get better food, I think, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're pretty much supervisors there.
Hmm.
So they're at the Ethel Fields getting organized into groups and whatnot. And one of the guys is being very careless with the Ethel. And to prove a point, the guy who's running it sets him on fire
Yeah.
and just lets or forces everybody to stand there and watch, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So
to
they
see
have
how,
to just,
or to show how dangerous it is, right? If
yeah,
they're, you don't, if they're just messing around.
yeah, to show like because they're learning how to collect it properly
Yeah.
without causing harm. So they literally just have to watch this guy, and he was one of the group leaders, I believe, right?
I don't, I don't think so. I think he was the bully, the kid.
Okay, and we
Yeah,
just
he's
watch
the
him
one.
burn to death.
Oh, no, he doesn't burn to death. He cracks the ethyl open on him
Oh, on
on
his
while he's
hand,
on
on his
fire,
arm. Yeah,
on his arm. But they have fireproof suits, but they obviously you don't want to wait until the fireproof doesn't become fireproof anymore.
yeah,
So
like you're on a time limit.
so they're just trying to tell him like, yeah, don't wait around to find out like how long that's gonna protect you.
Yep. And so by this point, I want to say they already start talking about finding a way to escape, right?
Yeah.
So because they're kind of fed up, and it jumps into
But I think before that they start the kids are, like, I guess eating and eating the food and whatnot, and that's when they start to get to know each other. They start to reveal to each other like their trauma with their parents and why they all ended up there.
that's right. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So as that part ends, it jumps to back at the carnival people.
Yeah.
So his name is Jebediah, the old
Oh, the
guy.
old guy. Yeah.
So the Maggie and Jebediah, brother and sister. So
Yeah.
they're now looking to recruit everybody to go help them save
Did we
him.
get the fox's name yet?
No, I don't know why I can't remember if the fox had a name. I
Yeah, I
swear
can't
it hasn't
remember
been
either.
that long since I've read it, and for some reason,
And I just read it and I still can't remember.
I'm gonna look see like real quick if I can find it. Does it say it anywhere? No, it does not. It, yeah, no. Honestly, I don't even remember if he had a name. I
Yeah.
just every time like when I was reading it, I just thought of him as like the fox. So whether
Yeah.
he had a name or not, he was always just the fox or his like
Yeah.
fox friend to me. So they rally everybody to go, and they all agree to go find them. And then a storm is coming, which I believe is most likely the result of the dad losing
Yeah.
his shit, in that town.
Yeah.
So they know there's a storm headed. Not that much really comes out of that storm, I believe, but it's time to go pretty much. And
Yeah.
so
Like
they're on
they
their,
know it's brewing, and I think the carnival like starts moving different directions or avoiding certain cities to not get hit from that storm.
yeah. Oh, and you know what? I believe this is the part where the guy burns to death, right? When they're back at the Ethel fields and they're climbing up the tanker.
No, none of them. No one gets burned to death. One of them does get into an accident. One of the workers or one of the leads or something, like the older guys, and and they leave him. They leave the guy to burn to death, but
Yeah.
Abel, can't get over himself to let it happen. So he ends up saving him and putting out the fire on him. And
Okay.
they get back to work and whatever. They go back to their quarters, and and all of a sudden their room gets a knock, and the main guy, the main owner, I forgot his name, but he wants to talk to Abel, and pulls them into the office, and all right, like, you guys can leave, I'm gonna talk to him. And he starts talking to Abel, and he thinks he's in big trouble. And the boss finds out that he, even though he had a chance to kill one of the guys, he saved him. And he kind of like recognizes that and appreciates it. So he decides to make him into one of the supervisors, because the boss kind of sees himself in Abel a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what happens with that. And then that's when Abel surprisingly accepts the position, and goes back to the quarters, and tells his roommates or his friends and stuff that, like, yeah, I took up the position, and that's how we're gonna all get out of here.
Okay. And the result of that storm, because leading up to that, is they're almost to the ethyl fields, remember? And the
Yeah,
storm took out the bridge, so they
yeah,
now have to find another route there.
right,
Uh,
right,
and this is immediately after what you had just said. After he talks to him, he accepts the job,
yeah,
and so they have to kind of divert all their energy and time to go around.
yeah,
Some by boat, and I think some take another path to
yeah.
get to him.
Hmm.
And trying to remember what happened here. They end up in a storm still crossing the river. Everybody makes it, yeah, to the other side, and then we go back to the ethyl fields. It
Yeah.
seems like I don't know. This was a really important part, although it kind of took away from what I had been saying about like the personal experiences and stuff. Because I don't think,
Hmm.
I mean, if he was, I don't know, but I doubt Skottie Young was a slave in an ethyl field.
Yeah.
you know, I, I don't really have that impression from him, but
Maybe he was like stuck at work, and he didn't like
yeah,
it.
maybe it
So
was
he was trying
something
to
that,
get.
yeah, from his future led up. But
Yeah,
or I'm sorry, from his childhood to his like older self, or
yeah,
in the future for him. So let me see. I think at this point now they've started planning to escape. Right. This is
yeah,
where, or at least Abel already starts like kind of devising a plan.
yeah. They
And
basically start going through work, and he starts taking note down of, like, the routes, like their procedures, like where everyone's gonna be at any given time, so they could make a proper escape, and deal with whatever they have to deal with.
yeah. Oh, and he has that. Was it a nightmare he has about his father
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah.
causes him to actually start like emitting energy from his chest and his eyes, and
Yeah, I think
you know,
he finds his father, like, I believe, at the ethol fields in their chambers, and he thinks like he's there to save him, and he's like, "Oh crap! Like, oh no, I don't want to go with you." And then
yeah,
that's when he starts activating his anger.
yeah, he wakes up because it was a
Yeah.
dream.
Hmm.
Yeah, he wakes up, and so that happens. Bobby calms him down, and then it shows what appears to be the next morning, them working in the ethyl fields again. And this is when they're actually about to execute their escape, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember exactly how they had devised the plan?
I think they had to make a distraction somewhere, and
Was it
and
an
thing
irrigation
yeah,
system?
they go under a irrigation system, but which they're supposed to go through a specific route, but that
Yeah,
all gets canceled out because it starts raining, like the storm's coming,
that's right.
and it the irrigation system gets triggers like a trip that sets off an alarm and opens the hatch to, I guess, release a lot of the water that's been going up. Otherwise, the alarm wouldn't have went off if the, if the water wasn't so high. So that kind of like messes up their entire plan, and they're about to drown too because they're
Yeah,
at the end of the tunnel and or irrigation system, and it finally opens up, and then there's a ladder that they can climb up to so they can get out, and they get out, and the latch opens, and their boss is right there. It's like, oh crap, like he real Abel realizes that he messed up, and his boss is like, I knew you were planning this the whole time, like I just wanted to he said he was very proud of him that he was even willing to do all that, so he kind of like gave him a chance to get away with it if he was able to get away with it, but his boss knew about it, so he decided to override the alarm or the trip to see if Abel had a plan B in case he gets found out right there.
yeah. His name is
And
Nicholas. That's the name of the boss.
the boss, yeah.
Yeah,
So that happens, and he starts threatening Abel about his escape, and is about to beat him up until Jebediah arrives right to the scene,
Maggie.
or Maggie.
Maggie shows up,
Yeah,
and what's it called? She's standing on the top of the vehicle, and she's just like, it's been a long time, and she's like, you have some of my people, so it's pretty much she wants the kids back.
yeah,
She wants specifically Bobby and Abel back, and he kind of just like laughs it off, like, you're like, they're mine, like, you're not gonna get them back.
yeah,
And at this point, like, it just erupts into like an all-out war. Like,
yeah,
that's it. Like, they're not gonna talk about this. It's done.
yeah,
Maggie and Jebediah are getting them back. And the robot's been kind of rebuilt, kind of into
yeah,
like a bigger robot and a more powerful robot.
yeah,
And I don't want to go panel for this because it's pretty
yeah.
exciting. I'd
Mhm.
rather let any listener who decides to read this actually follow this whole section about like the whole fight that takes place. I really enjoyed reading that, like everything that takes place. And sure enough, a storm comes in. Um, you just finished reading this. Do you want to go over this part, or do you want me to?
You can.
Okay. So a storm comes in and pretty much just takes everything out again, but it almost seems a little more controlled this time. Like, it's not just destroying everything in its path. Like, it's specifically just destroying the Ethel fields and the guys who work there.
Mhm.
Um, Almost like it's sparing the people who came to save the children. Do you remember that? Am I correct in my judgment on that? Or
I think so. Yeah,
because I don't recall anybody being like hurt by the end of it, and it was just anybody who was working for Nicholas and enslaving children.
yeah. I don't
And
think the storm had a sentient being controlling it at that time.
no, it did, because at the beginning of number 18, somebody says, "Is that Abel?" I think it's the bully, and then Bobby's like, "That's his dad." At least I think it's Bob. Oh, it's a fox. It says that's his dad.
Mm.
And so his
I
dad
was
had
Yeah,
come
I
in.
wasn't sure which part of the end of the issue you were talking about.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, sorry. This is the very beginning. So
Mm.
the dad had pretty much come in and just wiped everything out, and
Yeah,
pretty much saved everybody, which is weird given, the history between him and his father. But we had known that his father was coming and searching for him.
yeah.
This splash page I thought was really funny. For
What
anyone
does
on
that say?
YouTube, do you remember this?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, anyone on YouTube, you'll enjoy that if you see it. I won't say it on here. But so at this point, I believe Abel then channels the storm, correct?
Yeah.
and
Well,
he's
he was already in a storm form before his dad got there.
that's right, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. He turned in the storm, and he started doing the controlled destruction where he was taking out the FL field, right? Or
Yeah.
anybody, and then his dad comes in, who's a much bigger storm, and now they're like pretty much face to face.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like this is where like we'd kind of talked a little earlier, where the ending was good, but it wasn't great. You know, it was a solid
Yeah.
ending. It was a good ending, but it like like I wanted it to be a little more emotional than it was. Like it was pretty
Yeah.
emotional,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I
Like
oh, go
go
ahead.
on. You know, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, for me, I thought it was a solid ending. For me personally, it could have been better, as in with a more emotional impact. Like if his if his dad ended up sacrificing himself to save his son and realizing that he messed up with his childhood and the way he brought him up, but realized what he did and sacrifices himself to repent for that. I think that would have been a way more impactful ending.
Yeah.
But still, like the dad realized what he did, and he was trying to atone for all the things that he did to Abel growing up. And Abel was uh realized what his dad did, and forgives his dad for what he's done, but he still doesn't forget it. And he hasn't he's not making that connection back with his father, even though
Yeah.
he's trying to mend all that stuff that happened.
Yeah. It's one of those things like you had said, and I actually want to say he says it in the final issue
Yeah.
where he's like,
Hmm.
I forgive you, but I'll never forget."
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's because he understands, like, despite everything,
Hmm.
you did come save me. Like, you came, you know, despite everything that, like, all the negativity in our lives, and all this time I thought you hated me, you still came, to save me when I needed you. But that doesn't erase everything that you've done, all these, like, these 10 or 12 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So again, good, solid, but
Hmm.
it's not anything special. It's not an ending we haven't seen before. I wouldn't go as far as to just like rag on it and call it a cop out ending by any means. Like I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and I think Scotty Young's adventure, or the story he wrote, like the adventure that he wrote,
Yeah.
meant a lot more, than just an ending. Like there was so much more to it,
Yeah. And I
but
think his ending is still a bit unique as well, because it's not a happy ending, but it's also not a very sad
sad
ending.
ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the concern with his dad was that he wanted him to go back with him and to not be alone. And he was just like, I'm not alone. Like, look at all these people,
Yeah.
like it's not just you who came to save me. Like, it's an entire town's worth of people slash carnival
Yeah.
worth of people who came, who had my back. Because
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, at that point, nobody even knew Bobby was there, right?
Yeah. No.
And I know that they, like, Bobby had left, or they were aware of that, but
Hmm.
they didn't know Bobby was stuck in the ethyl field. So they literally just went knowing that they were going to save Abel.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's right. Like he's not alone, and he's never going to be alone, the rest of his life, if he
Yeah.
chooses to stay there. So yeah, like you said, it wasn't like it wasn't happily ever after, but it wasn't like the world just ended either,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And the other thing I was kind of guessing or thinking about was, does Abel and his dad still have that rage or that storm power? Because he still had his markings all over his body.
yeah. And again, another reason why I think this was a good ending, not a great ending, it doesn't give you any closure on that. Like, did they
Yeah.
just learn to live with it?
Yeah.
Is Abel going to grow up and be like his father?
Yeah.
Does he ever have an interaction with his grandfather again? Like, where does this go?
Right.
And so I do feel there could be like a side story or maybe another like 5 issues or something.
Continuation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like maybe not like a full another like 18 issues, but maybe like, three extra chapters onto this and like two side stories that kind of touch on like the Noack people and the grandfather's story, just to kind of close things off and give some answers in the story.
Yeah.
I think that'd
Yeah.
be really fun, and I
Oh
think
yeah.
that it would make an amazing story with a solid ending, an
Yeah.
even more amazing story with an amazing ending if
Yeah.
they touch just a little more on it, or he, I should say.
Yeah.
This is all Scotty Young, but overall, my experience, if I had to rate it, and I'm not saying this is an official score that we're, as comiXalliance we're giving it, but I'd say like 9 out of 10 for me. Like it was that good, start to finish.
Hmm. I think for me, I'd probably give it 8 out of 10. Um, but like I said, it's overall it's really done well, and it's something that I'm definitely gonna keep in my collection. It's still hit home for me, quality wise. It's one of the first single issue sets that I bought very blindly. Besides the art and the creators behind it, I looked and hunted for all the issues to complete it. So this
Yeah,
is the first set that I spent. Well, what was it, like $120 or something,
yeah, in one
for
shot.
everything in one shot. Yeah, I mean they had the comic book store had the whole collection at once, so I'm like, I'm not gonna pass this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I glad I didn't.
and what's funny is you actually recommended this to me, and I finished it like way before,
Oh yeah.
and you owned it way before me, and I
Yeah,
finished it way before you.
yeah, I don't
I
know
just I
why.
was hooked. Like once
I
I
think,
started.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that I don't know why I didn't decide to read it right away as soon as I got it. I don't I think I was reading other stuff, or was just having way more fun collecting than reading the books
Yeah,
that I was buying at
it
that time.
happens. But
Yeah,
yeah, once I started, I was just like, I don't want to put this down. Like, I just want to finish it. I was trying to
yeah,
like read it on lunch breaks at work. I
yeah,
was like, I'm not reading it fast enough. Like,
yeah.
it took like four lunch breaks, I think, to read it
Oh, okay,
because I don't think I read any while I was at home. I think I did it all at work.
nice.
So yeah, I'm gonna probably read it again sooner than later. Like, I don't normally reread things right away,
Yeah,
if at all. But this I want to read again because this and Gideon Falls, because I read them a lot on my lunch, and I feel like I don't want to say I was like rushing through it, but I was reading a little faster than I would have liked to because I did. And I know that sounds like rushing, but like I was still absorbing and I was still taking in a bulk of the story, I wasn't sitting there like, wait, what did it say 2 pages ago and having to flip back? Like I retained the bulk of the information, but I'd also like to spend a little more time looking at the art and the pictures and stuff. So I'll probably go through it again at least one more time in the next like couple months. And you froze. This is awesome. Can you hear me?
You
Okay.
froze up.
Yeah, you froze up for a little bit too.
I was just saying that yeah, like reading the stories one way through is definitely a lot better than broken up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're cutting out or breaking up again. I don't know if I am. You are frozen on the screen.
There we go, we're back.
All right, yeah, you were frozen on the screen. You're
Yeah,
getting
you were
kind of
too.
choppy. Yeah. Um, because we're having some technical issues, I don't know if you want to just maybe stop it here, just so if we run into any technical issues down the line, we're not gonna have a whole segment cut off.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine, we'll cut it off.
Okay. So next reading review, it's up to you, or we can leave it up to the listener. My personal suggestion would either be Gideon Falls.
That's what
Once it,
was next on my list.
okay, it was either going to be that
Yeah,
or Once in Future.
yeah, those two are definitely up on our list.
Like I would like the next two to be Gideon Falls and Once in Future. As far as which order, we could leave that up to our fans or our subscribers, whatever you'd like to call them.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, we can all maybe put something up on Instagram and ask, like, podcast reading review, like which one. I'll put that
yeah,
up tonight if I remember. See what people want to do. So yeah, if you're cool with that, those are the two I'd want to do. And then one thing I'd like to do, we can also ask if this is another one that they'd like to see. Maybe do an invincible. Either we'll do it in sections based off like the compendium, since you've finished it and I'm currently in I'm almost done with the first compendium. We can either do it in that section or we can do it in comparison to the animated series.
I think we can do a little bit of both. I think we're still planning to do to have a guest appearance from Comics Podcast
Yeah.
to have Luis on board for that discussion.
Yeah, I would love to have him. And I don't know if you've already spoke to him about it. If not, it's literally just a text message away.
Yeah, I have.
So,
He's aware of it.
okay, cool.
We're just
So yeah.
waiting for you to finish it once once we can start.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how about we have both of you do a quick refresher just to catch or to where I'm caught up at, and we can break it into three parts if you guys would like. If people would like to see three separate, you know, so that way we can do like the first like 48 issues, then the next like 48 issues, and so on. Oh, there he goes, cutting out again.
Yeah. We'll just cut it off. We can talk about what we're gonna do off the video.
Yeah, I was just throwing some stuff out there for any listeners, maybe get their input. So yeah, so we'll go
Yeah.
ahead and end things here. Thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully this will be up on Spotify. I know we keep saying that. It's just a matter of getting everything together and posting it. Probably be a lot easier for people to listen to on there. But we do appreciate the time. So everybody have a good night. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram if you didn't catch that at the beginning. It's comiXalliance, spelled COMIXALLIANCE. All right, have a good night, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you guys next time.